Welcome, everybody, to the UFL Power Rankings. These rankings are reflective of the games up through week 2, and I am joined this week by my co-hosts, Dre Courts and Durgan Hartunian. How are you guys doing today?
Good. Glad to be here.
Everybody.
Good deal. So, to give you guys a few pointers before you watch the show so we don't have anybody upset, just a quick disclaimer. These rankings are the average ranking of our three-player panel and do not reflect actual standings, nor do they have any bearings on the playoff selection. So this is all off the cuff. This is just food for fodder, water cooler type stuff. For rankings and player stats, visit the official website of the UFL at www.uflsl.com. Now, if you've seen any of our other broadcasts, if you've seen any of your games, if you've been to games, if you've talked to people in the league, and you are affiliated with any type of company, corporation, charity, whatever, if you're interested in being a sponsor, or more importantly, a title sponsor for this show, there is room available. If that interests you, you can contact any of our hosts in World, as well as Veronica Gears or any member of the UFL staff, and they'd be more than happy to get you in touch with the marketing department. Now, enough of all the disclaimers and the legal work. Let's get down to the meat of the show, and that is going to start with Dre. Dre, you are going to take us in those rankings, my man. What have you got for us?
Yes, I am. Tonight, we're going to start off our rankings. We're going to start at the bottom. Number 14 coming in is going to be the Bulldogs. After losing a couple of players and having to forfeit this week, too, their first matchup against the Warriors, they're looking to try to get some more talent in there, trying to build the team back up. That's why we have them down at number 14 right now. Number 13, we've got the Cobras. Had a week 2 bye, but week 1 they played the Patriots, lost 49-7. Coming in at number 12, we got the Falcons. The game was moved that they had this week. It was moved for some personnel reasons. They lost a couple key players, and I think that game is actually moved to the end of the season now. Coming in at number 11, we have the Packers. Played the Patriots, lost 66-21. I don't really know what happened on that one, but that's why they are ranked where they're at as of now. Number 10, we have the Mustangs. Played week 2, lost 35-0 to the Eagles. They had a problem with the running game, but they're going to work on getting that fixed, and that's why we have them at number 10 this week. Coming in at number 9, we have the Cowboys. Had a bye on week 2. Week 1, they lost 36-6 to the Bills, which is actually a pretty good showing. They've actually surprised a lot of people, and I think they're actually going to make some noise this year. Right now, I'm going to hand it off to my man Durgan. He's going to take care of 8 through 3 for us tonight.
Thank you, Dre. Good evening, everybody. Starting out with number 8, the Edge City Eagles, also coming into the season with a nearly complete personnel change-out some months ago, but a strong one. They've got the return of Nathan Forder, bringing a solid QB and halfback running game. Collectively, they brought in about 400 yards rushing total, bringing it to a 35-0 win against the Mustangs. Number 7, the Patriots are bringing their trademark passing game to bear, 49-7 for their first win of the season on the Cobras, and then 66-21 against the Packers. Number 6, the Yellow Jackets, unfortunately coming into the season with the first of 0-2 on losses there. Narrow against the Titans, 14-21. It was a very close game, but then losing by about 46 points to the Dolphins. 70-24. Our number 5 team is the Warriors, bringing in with a bit of a freebie, the first forfeit win of the season against the Bulldogs due to some personnel problems there. I'm told there was a pretty good scrim set up in the wake of that anyway, but unfortunately not much to actually go on the board there. Number 4, we've got the Titans, bringing a good tight game like we've always expected. Both teams, know how to lock down their line of scrimmage, and move the ball on the ground, and they can both make deep passes. But excuse me, I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong. Then number 3, we've got the Panthers with not only a bunch of great passing completions, but bringing a solid running game their entire match with an average of about 15-yard gain against the Packers. So for our number 2, we're going to pass this back to Syke.
Alrighty. Thank you for the lineup so far, boys. So the big question now: who we know which two, but how are they going to fall out between our number 1 and number 2 teams? So without any further drama and suspense, coming in at number 2, the Mystic Bills. These guys have really turned the corner from the previous season up until now. Almost a complete roster wipe, although they do have a couple of long-timers that have recently resurfaced with that group, and already a favorite for at least the playoffs, if not our very own Super Bowl. Leaving number 1, the Dolphins. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody loves their seafood this time of year. The Dolphins are no exception, as they have rocketed to the top of this week's power rankings, and it's going to be tough to dethrone those guys, I think. Now, if you have questions out there about what you've seen or how we came to those conclusions, remember our three-person panel is made up of Syke, Durgan, and Dre. So on the screen now, I have got our breakdown, how we each individually voted, and then we took the average of those three, and then you can see the placements of each team. Now, as you're looking at this card, a couple of things jump out. The first thing is that the number 1 and number 2 spots were unanimous. They were the only 2 spots that were voted that way. And then as you scroll down through and look, the biggest discretion, believe it or not, 3 different people ranking these, and only 1 team had more than a two-place disparity in the way that we voted. And we did this without discussing with either. We just all posted these up in our Facebook group and then ran away with it. So, all right, so I'm going to put, I guess, myself and well, all 3 of us on the spot with the Falcons. They're the biggest difference in those teams from 9th to 14th. Durgan, Dre, you had them at 12. Durgan, you had them at 14. We'll start with Durgan and then move to Dre. What did you see out of them that put them in that location?
Well, first of all, I mean, it's not so much a reflection on their capabilities. Obviously, they lost a large portion of their receiver core there. It's really more the fact that it's a bit of a placeholder, a bit of a wild card. We're kind of waiting to see what they do to fix those personnel issues and come back in for the rest of the season. And until we start seeing those changes, start seeing some stats out of them, it's really hard to make a call on that right now. So it's, in terms of ranking them amongst the other teams, that's a hard call to make.
There you go. Dre, what about you?
I had them coming in at number 12. I didn't feel like, that the people that they had lost, I mean, they lost some key players, don't get me wrong. The receivers that they did lose are some great receivers, and it's really going to hurt them. I didn't put them all the way at the bottom because, I know that they're going to get their stuff together. They're going to make some changes, and they're going to bounce back from it. But it's apparent that, losing players, the magnitude that they lost, this is going to hurt them. It's definitely going to drop them down spots. As for the whole, as you take a passing game away, like happened, this week or last week. I'm sorry. So it's definitely going to hurt them. So that's why I have them ranked 12. Like, why'd you put them at number 9? Why you rank them in that area?
Well, if there's any one thing I've seen Baldev do over really, I mean, the last season, I guess, and then the part of season that we've seen this far, is I would put him up there with really the best as far as going outside of this league and finding talent and developing talent. In that, if you look at over the last couple of seasons, I know that I know my buddy Tom. He started over with Baldev, and then you had the players that he found this year that they have ended up losing, but they were first-year players also. And I don't know of any team, and again, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know of any team that's went out and found as many, quote off the street players that brings in and then just ends up being, that level of talent. And he's still got Zev down there. That's another favorite target of his. So the reason I put them up as high, one is kind of like I still believe that, even with the losses, that he's going to find some people out there and bounce back pretty quick. But I guess, too, the faith that I know that I have in some of the players that I've seen that are still there, that I did that. And part of it is a reflection, too, on the teams the teams beneath them. You know, the Bulldogs right now are a big question mark. I know that we all had them. Their highest rank was either 13th or 14th, but they're a big question mark right now. But I mean, the thing is, when you talk about a power ranking, it doesn't matter who you are. If you don't bring enough players to the field, to me, that is just, I mean, like I said, you know, it wouldn't matter if you had, you know, the top quarterback and the best 3 wide receivers in the league. If you only have 5 people show up to the game, then your team is, you know, powerless, I guess, for lack of a better description. And so whenever I compared, you know, the Falcons to those other teams, I just didn't feel right, you know, about moving them below those teams. So
Right.
that was that. What about you guys? You guys have any questions about anything that we placed anywhere with each other or with me?
Um, I noticed that me and Durgan were pretty much in agreement. Patriots 7. You had them ranked at 5. You actually had them ranked above the Warriors and the Yellow Jackets. Explain why you feel that.
Okay. Yeah, and that one, you know, it may be the most suspect to change as the season moves. Um, if I look at the number, okay, with the Yellow Jacket team, um, again they're coming off 2 losses, and while I do have them projected at 7th, I felt entirely what's the right word, unjustified of putting them over a team that had won, you know, 2 games in a row. So that's why I had the Patriots up there. And then with the Warriors, like I said, I know that the Warriors are going to be one of those teams that if they fall out of the top 6 this year, I'll be surprised. But, you know, they did have 1 win. And let's see, again, this is like I'm tying in the name of the show here, but it was like the most powerless win that you can get. You had to do nothing other than have enough people to get that win. And so again, you've got a team in the Patriots that had won 2. So that was what threw me, had me throw them above those 2 particular teams.
Yeah, I was just wondering because I had noticed that and you mentioned the Yellow Jackets starting out 0-2. You got to look at the scheduled play. They had the Titans first, with a very good game. Very questionable call at the end of the game. That really could have changed, went either way. That game I really seen, could have been a win for either team. So I don't really, say one of them teams is even better than the other one right now because the way the game did. And then they played the Dolphins, and y'all know what's happened in that game.
Yeah.
With the talent that the Dolphins have. So, I think kind of like the Yellow Jackets maybe kind of, got shafted as far as on that. Well, not shafted, because, like, it's just – and that's why I was saying, as far as putting the Patriots above them, that's all I was questioning.
Yeah.
Because the Patriots games, they had played the Cobras.
Well,
played
because
the Packers week 2.
Right, because I can't ever seem to go anywhere without at least, riling somebody up. Let me make this statement. Had the Yellow Jackets games with the Titans gone the way that it had with the Dolphins, then I would have had them at like number 14. It was because of the way that they played the Titans. Because again, they'd be 0-2,
Right.
But because they did show that they were able, to go shot for shot and literally down to the last second, and some heavy study of field behavior, that they were able to hold out. And that game not even, end in a tie. Instead, it was a 7-point loss. That's really where, because the Titans, we have them I had them where they were. If it wasn't for that tough fight, with the Titans, I would have them at the bottom. Again, not because I believe that's where they're going to finish, but based on their 2 weeks. They were real competitive with, who I had ranked at number 3. And so that gave them some street cred per se, because let's just be real, who aren't, the Dolphins, going to just go in and probably beat by 30 or 40. So that's why, as far as their sample goes, that's why I gave them that number 7 spot instead of lower.
Right, I got you.
Anybody else? What have we got? Let's see. What did I want to throw out there? I saw one thing that y'all done that y'all had agreed on. Maybe I already asked. I guess I did.
Yeah, you'd asked about the Falcons.
Yeah, I did. I did ask about the Falcons. That may have been the only thing. So Well, anyway, I guess we will go ahead and start to draw this thing to a close right now. I hope that you out there in viewership land, whether it's live or on the stream later on, have enjoyed it. This has been a lot of fun, and this will be right now. We're still ironing it out whether or not this show, you'd need to look for it on Monday afternoons or Tuesday. But we'll keep the league groups notified as far as when that will be. And we'd be more than happy to have you guys join us live, watching on Twitch next week or catching it, whenever we upload it to YouTube or whenever. So I will let Dre and Durgan sign off and tell you guys bye, and then we will draw this one to a close.
I just want to let everybody know thanks for tuning in.
All right. Well, fellas.
Good night, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Yep. It's been a lot of fun, and we'll see you guys on the playing field here before you know it. So I hope you guys have a good week of practice, and then see you this weekend for UFL Week 3 games. So this is Syke for Dre and Durgan signing off. See you guys later.